Hey there everyone, and welcome to Bill's Retro Gaming Show. On this video I just want to give a quick pre-review of my new iiRcade Gold Space Invaders edition. Now I just got it in yesterday, I put it together, I've been playing around with it. I don't want to give a full review just yet. I want to take a week or so, really dive into it, give a fair assessment before I do a full review. But there were just a couple of things involved with this cabinet when I was putting it together that I want to point out to some of you guys who are in the process of getting your gold cabs or will be getting them shortly and will be putting them together. So stay tuned right after this and we'll dive in. Alright everybody, welcome back. Again, as always, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't had a chance to do it yet, please go ahead and click that subscription button. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I put up a new video. Give this one a thumbs up and leave a comment below. So, what I wanted to talk about today really quick is the iiRcade Gold cabinets. Specifically, some changes that they've made to them now that they're coming out to the, for lack of a better term, general public. What some of you may or may not know is that when the gold cabs first were shipping, they shipped about 20 or so to certain YouTubers, influencers, so that they could review, give feedback, on the cabs before they went out to everyone else. Now, the nice thing about that was that they actually did give some feedback on the build of the cabinet, which caused iiRcade to make some last-minute changes, and these changes are, so far from what I can tell, for the better. Now what I wanted to do is just point them out to you really quick so that you know what to be aware of when you get your gold cab. So really there are two major things that got changed from the pre-release versions to the full release versions, and they involve the hookup to the control panel and the light up marquee. So let me start with the change to the control panel. Now, when you're assembling your cab, in order to connect the control panel to the PCB, there is a ribbon that connects from the control panel to the PCB. Now, on the pre-releases, what they did when they put them out was that the ribbon was connected to the control panel on shipping, and you had to then plug it into the PCB. Now, the feedback they got was that this was really difficult because the connection to the ribbon on the PCB was in an odd spot where it was kind of angled and up from the bottom, and it was very difficult to do, and they were afraid that people might bend pins or try to jam it in and have problems. So what they decided to do with the release of this is they switched it so that that ribbon is now connected to the PCB when it ships, and you just have to plug it in to the control panel. Much easier process. Here's a look at what it looks like connected to the PCB. Alright everyone, so this is a look behind the cab with it open. You see those are the speakers, the speaker connection, the LED connection for the marquee is there. Those are really easy to get to because they're on the top. Now here's the part on the bottom where you have to hook up the power, USB, an external HDMI if you want, and that ribbon connector for the joystick. And you can see what they did was they taped it here so it would stay, connected. And you can tell how difficult it would have been to connect that. So instead, the ribbon goes through, and you just have to connect it to the control panel when you're putting it together. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to point that out is because when they shipped this out, they didn't reprint the manuals that come with the bar top assembly. However, they did add an extra sheet that changes a couple of the instructions. All right, so it's something that you want to be aware of. So now here's the manual that comes with your iiRcade for the bar top control. Now when you get to step 19, it shows you to put the control panel in and screw it in. And then a step later, step 21, is connecting the ribbon to the PCB. So instead what they've done is they've gotten this, which replaces step 19 and shows you to connect the ribbon to the control panel first before you screw it in. All right, there's the little connection right there. So you want to make sure when you are putting your iiRcade together that you do that you know that that's there, because if you're just following along with the main manual, you'll miss that step like I did and have to unscrew it and realize that you have to put the ribbon in again. Part of the reason I'm making this video is I made that mistake. I don't want you guys to. Again, no big deal. I just had to flip it over and do it. It was no problem. It was very easy to put that ribbon in on the control panel, much easier I think than it would have been to try to get it in on the PCB. So that was a great thing that they did by making that change. And then when you get to step 21, you can ignore that change, that step about plugging it into the PCB, because it's already done for you. So something to keep in mind. Now the other change that they made involves the Marquee. Now when the original units went out, the Marquee had kind of a very matte finish to it, so it kind of stood out, but not necessarily in a good way, maybe next to some other units people have, like their Arcade 1-Ups in their setup, especially with the Marquee turned off. So that was part of the feedback that they got, and iiRcade decided to make a very simple change to that, and that's to provide a plastic overlay to the Marquee. So again, this is a change to the manual, and this is actually an earlier process even than the control panel, and this is step 11, where it basically just shows you to slide the Marquee into the bar top. So instead what you're going to do is you're going to take that plastic overlay and you're going to peel the white film off of it, and then slide the two pieces in together. The Marquee with the plastic overlay in front of it going into the bar top. So now here's the thing about that step. You don't necessarily have to do it if you don't want to. If you'd prefer to have it have that more matte finish, you can just leave that overlay out. But I wanted to point it out just so you're aware that that's there. Again, it's a different step than what's in the original manual, so I didn't want you to miss it. All right, and there you have it. Other than those couple of things that I pointed out, the assembly is very straightforward. Nothing's changed with the base of the assembly. Just follow along in the instructions. You will be perfectly fine when you put that together. As for the bar top, same thing. Just follow along. Just know that those steps 11 and step 19, you're going to look to the extra sheet that they provided to make sure that you follow that assembly, and you will have no problem. Again, the base probably took me about a half hour to put together. The top maybe about 45 minutes to an hour. The trickiest part is just once you get most of it assembled, then you have to put the second side on and get all the screws to line up in the holes and whatever, and that part is always a little bit tricky to get everything to line up right. That took me a little bit of time, but other than that, very straightforward, very easy to put together. You can see I've got it up and running. I've got it updated to the latest firmware. Everything's looking good so far. Want to give it a little extra time before I put together a full review, just to give it, you know, a fair assessment. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and when you do get your iiRcades and put them together, you know, just follow along and you'll be fine, and enjoy. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.